Hi and welcome to Travels with Travis. My name is Travis and I am traveling the world with my wife, one destination at a time. Good afternoon, travelers, and welcome to another episode of Travels with Travis. Here in sunny, beautiful Tucson, Arizona, the Sonoran Desert, home of the most recognizable cactus on Earth, the saguaro cactus, the mighty one and only. Today I'm here to talk about the top 5 pros, in my mind, of living in Tucson, Arizona. And no place is perfect, but there is a lot of good things about living here. We'll make another video about the 5 cons of living in Tucson, Arizona. It does have a few downsides, but the upsides are pretty good, so I do want to talk about those today, so stick around. All right, the number 1 pro of living in Tucson, Arizona, which can be counted as a con in some people's eyes, totally understand, but it is going to be the weather. So the weather here, definitely June through September, it's gonna be hot. That comes as a surprise to no one. However, it is a dry heat. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, you know, it's 80 but humid out in the south in September, you know, and some people think that's better, some people think it's worse, but the dry heat here does not bother me personally. It will bother a lot of people. However, the trade-off, when I say the pro, is during the winter, it's going to be gorgeous here. I can't wait. October through about March, April, you're talking beautiful daytime highs, sunny skies, no snow, no ice. Now, it did snow in Tucson in March, early March this year, which is pretty crazy to think about. My coworkers said it actually stuck around for the whole day, but it'd be cool to see snow in Tucson, Arizona. So, you know, during the winter, we have a lot of people that live here from the Northeast, the Northwest, you know, up in northern states. And why do they live here? They don't want to deal with the snow. They don't want to deal with ice. They don't want to scrape their car. They don't want to heat their car up in the morning. Totally understandable. So for them, they'd rather melt in the summer than freeze in the winter. Totally get it. You know, during the winter, it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to wake up in December, you know, 75 degrees, blue skies. It's going to be like that every day. Now, to those who like the fall leaves and the snow and such like that, you're not going to get it here, but we'll go over that in a different video. Of course, during the summer, you do get some relief from the desert heat. You get the absolutely stunning monsoon season, or just monsoon. You do get the heavy rains that come in and almost on a nightly basis. It kind of is like mid-June, July through September. We got some gorgeous thunderstorms. I mean, the lightning here is just absolutely crazy and intense, made for some really great pictures, really great videos. If you just love thunderstorms and lightning, not only do you have the beautiful Sonoran Desert landscape to enjoy while you're enjoying the thunderstorm and the lightning, but it's just so incredible and so enjoyable. It brings a lot of water to the area for the wildlife, for us, fills up a lot of the empty riverbeds and such. So you do get a relief from the heat there. But of course, there's not going to be some of the major related weather events. You're not going to have your tornadoes. You're not going to have, as far as I know, earthquakes and volcanoes and all that stuff. You know, a lot of weather things, or hurricanes. You're not going to have a hurricane in Tucson, Arizona. Now, some of the bands of Hurricane Hillary did reach here. We just got rain, but you're not going to get the brunt of it. So, good weather. Let's move on. So number 2 is the food. So Tucson, Arizona is one of the only cities in the United States to have the World UNESCO Gastronomy Award for its diversity and deliciousness of food. So since we've been here, I've been working so much, but I want to try out so many places. A local favorite, Say's Kitchen, which I do have a video of. Definitely check that out. It's just a really good local place. Has the queso is amazing, the food's amazing. One of my favorite places in town, Little Anthony's Diner, which is just this nostalgic 50s place with singers, and the food is amazing. A lot of barbecue places. You have a lot of local places like that are Mexican food. You got Asian food. There's a place that I want to try called Rajan Ramen. It's owned and operated by a guy from Tokyo, and he makes traditional Japanese ramen, and I'm just like so stoked to go try it. I gotta get my butt over there. You have a lot of Mexican restaurants that are original, they're old. Supposedly, I can't remember the name of the restaurant at the moment, but supposedly it is where they made the world's first chimichanga. I think it's chimichanga. But just, you have such a diverse selection of choices here. You have a local cuisine, which of course you have the Sonoran hot dog, which everyone says you got to try when you're here. I mean, no matter what I look up, whether it be donuts, pizza, burgers, Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, anything you want, you can find it here. And that is why Tucson got the label for the only city in the US to get the UNESCO World Gastronomy Award for food. So definitely a pro. Now, another pro about living here is it is absolutely gorgeous. No matter where you look, you are surrounded by 4 mountain ranges here in Tucson. Currently, you don't see the view in front of me. I'll throw a little video clip of it, but there's cactus on the skyline, palm trees. You have the mountains that just are all around us here. To the west, you have Saguaro National Park West, which has beautiful mountains when the sun sets in the west. The Arizona flag and the Arizona license plate are true representations of Arizona. When the sun goes over that hill, the mountains truly do turn purple. You have the beautiful cactus on the skyline. I went and took some pictures and video of the sunset the other night. Absolutely stunning. The nature here, I mean, you have wildlife everywhere. Since I've been here, I've seen coyotes, I've seen rattlesnakes, I've seen tarantulas, I've seen hummingbirds, bats, owls, deer. There is just everything out here. The only thing I haven't seen is a javelina, but I'm getting close. We did see a desert tortoise. My family came and visited. We went to Sabino Canyon, which is a local's favorite spot to walk. And we saw a lot of stuff that night, but it was really rare to see a desert tortoise, and we did get to see one, which is super awesome. But this place is so alive. I've always wanted to live in a place where just everywhere you look, there's just nature and animals that you just don't see in a lot of other places you live. The owls live right here in our apartment complex. You can see them just hanging out in the tree all day, and it's just really just a spectacular wonder. The hummingbirds are everywhere in the morning. I mean, the bats are flying all around at night. In fact, we were walking at Sabino Canyon the other night, and a bat flew and attached itself to our son's stroller, and we're just like, hey, look, a bat. Like, it's just so cool to live in such a naturally beautiful place, but also just a diversity of wildlife that you can just see everywhere. So very scenic. Of course, you have Mount Lemmon. That's just an hour away, where you can escape to pine forest. You have a complete overlook of Tucson. So many places to camp and hike and just do all kinds of outdoors activities, anything you can think of. You got Colossal Cave off down in Vail, campsites that way, camping on Mount Lemmon in the pine forest, camping in the national park, which I want to do soon. Just Sabino Canyon to walk. There's Honeybee Canyon up in Oro Valley, Finger Rock Trail, which is just up the street here. I mean, there's just endless amount of outdoors activities. Obviously, you want to do those when it cools off, which is going to be soon. Of course, the next good thing about living in Tucson is you're very close to a lot of really great things. Arizona is a place that is really popular. It exploded in popularity. A lot of people to this day still pouring in. A lot of people escaping that ice and snow in the north. But just for Arizona's natural beauty, like I said, the only place in the world where you're going to find the saguaro cactus, the Grand Canyon, Flagstaff, Sedona, Route 66 that runs all through here. You got, Tombstone and Bisbee and Page with Lake Powell, which of course is close to Utah, which has a lot of national parks there. Here in Arizona, you're so close to all kinds of things. And living in Tucson, you just have a ton of stuff to do in Tucson. But you're going to be 6 hours to Monument Valley, one of my favorite places on earth. You're going to be 2 hours to Phoenix if you want to go up there for a lot of bars, restaurants, concerts, whatever you like, baseball games, football games. You're only 6 hours to San Diego and the California beach, an hour to Tombstone, 3.5 hours to Sedona, Flagstaff, and Sedona is amazing. You have to go there if you haven't ever been. And you're only 40 minutes, depending on where you're at in the city. I'm more in the dead center. So about 40 minutes either way to Saguaro National Park, east or west. You're very close to Joshua Tree. You're very close to Nevada. You're just close to a lot of awesome things. And you get to live in a beautiful place. And if you want to go visit all these things Arizona has to offer, well, you're right there. We want to see Canyon de Chelly. We want to hit some Route 66 towns, go to Joshua Tree and San Diego. There's just so much that is just a short drive away from Tucson. And it's just a privilege to live in a place where you only have so much to do here, but there's places nearby to go check out. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about real quick, because I like to keep these videos short if possible, is the cost of living. Now, this can be a tentative and sensitive topic, so I will preface it with, there are people that live here in Tucson that are going to completely disagree, and I totally understand. So if you're going to go in the comments and be like, I've lived here for 15 years and it's just so expensive now, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, compared to my experience and certain other people I know, So when I was living in Roswell, the rent was $13.44. It was for a bigger space, but when I was looking for a new place to live, rent was the biggest thing. And I do have a really nice place up here in the Cathills. The apartment complex is nice. It has a beautiful view. It's in a good area. Has a Safeway right across the street that we love to use. And it's only $800. So that is really good. Now, I understand there's a lot of people that do live here. And, you know, I've lived here for 10 years and the rent just keeps going up and up. I understand. But for a major city, you can still find viable rent. If you look on Tucson's west side, you can still find $600, $700 rents. They're still there. You know, I'm not going to say they're going to be the nicest, but it still does exist. You're going to find anything in between based on what your needs are and what you like. And I am comparing this to, like, my sister. She lives just outside Dallas, and for a similar space, it is a little bit more square footage, but it's going to be nearly $1,500, to where you can have all the resources of Tucson and have an apartment for only $800, and even some of the upgraded models that have, you know, a more of a square footage for, you know, $900, $1,000. So you can still find cheap rent. Now, Tucson, if you do look on the government websites or whatever, where it talks about the average cost of living, the cost of living in Tucson is 10 or so points below the national average. So if 100 is the median number, it's going to be about, I believe it's probably 7 to 10 points below the national average. So it is going to be a little cheaper to live here, which is great. I do believe there's a lot of opportunities because here coming soon, all the snowbirds are going to flock in. And if you're into art, photography, or any kind of thing promoting Southern Arizona, it's an easy sell to all the tourists that are going to come in. I've taken a lot of great photos of the sunset and stuff. I'm like, I need to find a place to set up and just share all my beautiful photos I've taken of Tucson for all the travelers that come down for the winter. But I do want to wrap it up because I don't like to make these videos too long. There's a lot of great things to living here. There are some negatives. It's not all perfect, and we'll talk about that in a later video. But I do want to thank you for tuning in. If you're thinking about making the move down here to Tucson, just do your research. You know, listen to people like me who here on the ground living, what their experience is, the pros, the cons. Definitely research your areas. Make sure you're living in an area that fits you. You know, would you rather melt in the summer and have a beautiful winter than freeze during the winter and, you know, have a pleasant summer? You know, that's one thing you want to think about. You know, can you handle all the wildlife? I haven't seen any scorpions, but there are snakes and spiders and things you do have to watch out for when you're living in your house. If you purchase real estate, you know, there's creepy crawlies. There's all kinds of things to think about. But these are just the top 5 pros that I have in my heart for Tucson, Arizona so far, as we've been living here for about 5 months now. And I just want to share that with you. So I appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, if you're thinking about making the move to Arizona or Tucson, you have any questions about Tucson in the area, leave them in the comments below. I respond to all comments. So I appreciate you tuning into this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.